We begin now at the top of Daf Nun Gimel Amud Beis in Maseches Brachos. This is Berachos Daf 53b. The Gemara begins with the Mishnah. It says, "Ve'ein mevorchen al haner ad sheyosu." We don't make a bracha on a candle. This is talking about on Motzei Shabbos when you make Havdalah until you get benefit, until you derive pleasure from the candle. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav, "Lo yeyosu yeyosu mamish." It doesn't mean you actually have to derive benefit. Ela kol she'ilu omed bekarov u'mishtamish laora va'afilu berichuk makam. As long as the light is something that if you were standing close to it, you could use that light. So even if you're far away in such a scenario, you could just see it, you can't get benefit, you can still make a bracha. Rav Ashi says the same thing. Even if you're far away from the candle, you are allowed to make the bracha of Ma'orei Ha'esh. Rashi here explains, even if you derive no benefit from it, you can make a bracha. What does the phrase in the Mishnah mean when it says ad sheyosu? Ad sheheoro ro'oi lehanos mimenu. It has to be fit for hana, la'omdim samachlo, for those who are standing close. Even though it's far away, can then make a bracha. Uvilvad sheyiru, as long as they can see the flame. The Gemara asks on this opinion from a brisa. Meisvei, we ask from the following brisa: Haisalo ner temuna becheko o befanas o sharash al heves v'lo nishtamish laora. If a person has a candle, it's hidden in his lap, or it's in a lantern, or he sees a flame but he doesn't use the light. O nishtamish laora v'lo rash al heves, or he uses the light, he benefits from it, but doesn't see the flame. Eino mevarech ad sheyira shal heves v'yishtamish laora. He doesn't make the bracha until he sees the flame and he uses the light. So clearly the brisa seems to be saying you need to actually get benefit from the light. The Gemara continues to explain. I understand a case where a person uses the light but doesn't see the flame. Let's say the flame is right around the corner, so you can't see the actual flame, but you can use the light that it produces. What does the brisa mean when it says you see the flame but don't use the light? Doesn't it mean our exact scenario that you're far away? And it's saying the opposite of what we just said before. It's saying that if you're far away, you cannot make the bracha. The Gemara says, "Lo, no, kagon da'amya v'azla." What the brisa is referring to is a candle where the flame is getting dimmer. So in that situation, you're not allowed to use such a flame if it's in the process of dimming. But if you're far away from a candle which is strong, even though you're not personally benefiting, since theoretically if you're close you could benefit, in such a situation you could still make a bracha. The Gemara continues here at the two dots. Tana Rabban, we learned in a brisa, if you have coals that are glimmering, then you can make a bracha. Omamos ein mevarchen alein, but if the light is fading, if it's dimming, then you're not allowed to make the bracha. So the Gemara wants to know exactly how do you determine when a coal is considered to be glimmering. Amar Rav Chisda says, Kol she'ilu machnis lesochan kesam v'dolekas me'elo. Anytime where if you would put in a chip of wood, like a toothpick, and it would be able to burn on its own from just touching the coal, those are strong enough that you can make the bracha of Ma'orei Ha'esh. Ibailu, they ask the question, omimos o omimos, how do you spell the word? Is it spelled with an aleph or with an ayin? Tashmal, bring a proof. Diamar Rav Chisda bar Avdimai, arazim lo imemuhu began elokim. Clearly the pasuk here is spelling as the pasuk in Yechezkel, is spelling it with an ayin. Rava Amar Rava says yeyosu mamish. Rava disagrees with what we said before. He says that your person actually needs to benefit from the light. The kama, so how much does he need to benefit? Amar ula kedei sheyakar ben iser lepundion. He needs to benefit enough to be able to distinguish between these two coins, one called an iser and one called a pundion. Chizkiya Amar Chizkiya says kedei sheyakar ben meluzma shel teveria le meluzma shel tzipori. He needs to be able to make a distinction. According to Rashi, meluzma means like a weight, between the weights that were used in Teveria and the weights that were used in Tzipori. The Aruch has a different translation. The Aruch says it means also it's a kind of a coin, the coins of Teveria and the coins of Tzipori. Gemara now records a couple of practices of the Amoraim. Rav Yehuda mevarich adabei ada. Rav Yehuda would make the bracha on the light that he saw in the house of adabei ada daila, in the house of ada daila. Rava mevarich adabei Gurya Barchama. Rava would make the bracha in the house of Gurya Barchama, and Abaye mevarich adabei Baravur. Abaye would make the bracha on the light that he saw in the house of Baravur. Rashi here explains what is going on with these different opinions. So Rashi on Rav Yehuda says, Rav Yehuda haya mevarech al or shebebeis ada daila v'rachok mi beis ohaya. The point of the Gemara is that Rav Yehuda would make a bracha on this light even though it was far away from his house. Rav Yehuda l'tay made the lo boy samach. Rav Yehuda is following his reasoning, which we quoted earlier, that you don't need to be near the fire. Rava mevarich adbei Gurya bar Chama. Now Rava, who we just quoted, he makes the bracha. He would make the bracha on the light that was in the house of Gurya bar Chama samach lebeisoi. This was close to his house. Rava l'tay made the amar samach bin, and Rava goes according to his reasoning, like we said, that you need to be close. You're not allowed to make a bracha on a flame which is far away. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav, Ein mechazrin ala or kederech shemechazrin ala mitzvahs. You don't have to pursue light. It's not such a requirement to make the bracha of Ma'orei Ha'esh on Motzei Shabbos. You don't have to pursue light the same way we pursue mitzvahs. Amar Rav Zeir said, Mereish hava mahadrina. In the beginning, I used to pursue flame. I used to try to make sure I had a flame for Motzei Shabbos. Kavan deshaman lahad Rav Yehuda Marav. But once I heard that, which Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav, Anonami lo mahadrina, I don't pursue it. Ela imikla li memela mivarichna. If I happen to have a flame, if I happen to come across a flame, then I make the bracha of Morei Ha'esh Motzei Shabbos, but I don't pursue it. Gemara now continues with the two dots, Misha Achal V'chulu. This is talking about the machlokas between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Person 8, he forgot to make the bracha achrona, he forgot to bench. Does he do it where he is, or does he have to go back to his original place to make the bracha? Amar Rav Zavid v'itema Rav Dimi bar Abba. So Rav Zavid, some people say Rav Dimi bar Abba says, machlokas b'shokach. The machlokas Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is when a person forgot to make the bracha achrona. Avol b'meizid divrei hakol yachzir l'makomo. But if he purposely went away and didn't make the bracha, he needs to go back to his place, v'yavarach, and make the bracha over there. Everybody agrees. Beis Hillel is only lenient in a case where you forgot, according to this opinion. But in a case where you did it on purpose, even Beis Hillel would agree with the Beis Shammai, you need to go back to the original place and make the bracha. Gemara says, Pshita v'shokach tnan. It's obvious. What's the Amora here adding? It says in the Mishnah, you forgot. Obviously, it's only talking about if you forgot. Ma'od detema hu adin afilo b'mezid. The Gemara says, no, you might have thought that the Mishnah means even b'mezid. V'hayda katani v'shokach l'hodiacha kochen de Beis Shammai. Maybe the only reason the Mishnah had the term v'shokach was to tell you that Beis Shammai is strict even when you forget. But in reality, they argue, both Beis Hillel and Beis Shammai argue, whether it's b'mezid or whether it's shokach. Kamash malon. So we're telling you, no, they're only arguing by shokach. And when it is b'mezid, everybody agrees that you have to be strict. Everybody agrees essentially with Beis Shammai's position in such a case. Tanya will end in a brayso. Amru lehem Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel say to Beis Shammai, ledivrechem. According to you, mishacha barosh habira. Somebody ate at the top of a tower of a shakach v'yarad v'loberach. He forgot. He went down and he didn't make the bracha. Yachzer l'rosh habira v'yivarach. Do you hold that the person needs to go up back to the top of the tower and make the bracha? It seems to be a very extreme position. Amru lehem Beis Shammai leBeis Hillel. So Beis Shammai say to Beis Hillel, ledivrechem. According to you, misha shachach arniki barosh habira. Somebody forgets a purse. He forgets a bag of money at the top of a tower. Lo yala v'yitlena. He doesn't go up and get it. L'chavad atzmahu ola. For his own honor, he's willing to go up. L'chvod shamayim lo kol shekain. Certainly, he should be willing to go up for the kavod of shamayim. So that was Beis Shammai's argument. Why, when a person forgets to make the bracha, he should return to his original place. Hanu trei talmidei. There were two talmidim. Chad avid b'shogeg kebeis Shammai. There was one talmid who, even in a situation where he made a mistake, he was strict on himself like Beis Shammai. He returned to his original place. Ve'eshkach arnika dedaven. When he returned to his place, he found a purse full of gold. So the idea being that he was rewarded for his following the strict opinion. V'chad avid b'mezid kebeis Hillel. The other talmid did, even when he purposely didn't make the bracha, he did not go back. He was lenient like Beis Hillel. Va'achle arya, and he was eaten by a lion. Rabba bar Chana have a ka'azel b'shai rasa. Rabba bar Chana was going with a caravan. Achal v'ishtali v'loberach, and he ate, and he forgot to make the bracha achrona. Amar, he said, Hechi avi. He said, what should I do? Iyamina lohu anshoy levarach. If I tell these people who I'm with that I forgot to make the bracha, Ruli, they're going to say to me, Berich kol hecha ad mevareches l'rachmana mevareches. He says they're going to tell me, make the bracha right here. Wherever you make the bracha to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're making the bracha. What difference does it make? We shouldn't need a return. In other words, he was skeptical in terms of the people he was with, that they would allow him to go back just to make a bracha. So he said to himself, Mutav da'amina lahu ansha yona dedav. It's better that I tell them that I forgot my golden dove, meaning an expensive item, that they're going to let me return for. Amar Lu, said to them, Antruli, wait for me, da ansha yona dedav, because I forgot this golden dove. Azil ubarich, so he went there and he made the bracha va'ashkach yona dedav, and in fact, he did find a golden dove. Gemara says, Umayishna yona. Why did he pick a dove out of all things? The Mesile Knesset Yisrael Yona. Knesset Yisrael is compared to a dove. Dechsiv, as it says in the pasuk, Kanfe Yona Nechba V'Kesef. That means the wings of a dove, they're covered in silver, Ve'evroseh B'Yirakra Choretz, and that's also part of the wing of the dove is covered in like gold. And so they're comparing there the Yona to Knesset Yisrael. Ma Yona Eina Nitzolas Ela B'Chanfeh. Just like a dove is only saved through its wings, Af Yisrael Eina Nitzol and El B'Mitzvah, so too Klal Yisrael is only saved through the performance of mitzvos. Gemara here continues at the two dots. The Gemara the Mishnah there was discussing how long does a person have to make bracha achrona. So kama shir ichol, how long is the amount of time it takes for the food to digest? That was the amount of time you had. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says, "Kol zman she'eino roiv." As long as he's not hungry, he can still make the bracha. Reish Lakish Amar Kol zman sheyitzma machmas achilaso. It's the amount of time that he's still thirsty because of what he ate. Amar le Rav Yemar bar Shalmi or Mar Zutra. So Rav Yemar bar Shalmi said to Mar Zutra, V'yamri Rav Yemar bar Shizvi Mar Zutra, or it was Rav Yemar bar Shizvi said to Mar Zutra. Mi Amar Reish Lakish. Hachi, did Reish Lakish really say this was the amount of time? Ve'Amar Rav Ami Amar Reish Lakish. But we have another statement from Rav Ami in the name of Reish Lakish. Kama shir ichol. What is the amount? Kedei lahalach arba milin. It's the amount of time it takes you to walk 4 meal. So the Gemara says, Lo kasha kan ba'achila meruba, kan ba'achila muetis. It depends if you ate a lot or a little. If you ate a lot, so Rashi here explains. Rashi says, Achila meruba dalid milin. If a person ate a lot, then he has the amount of time it takes to walk 4 meal to say the bracha. If he ate a little, then he gets the amount of time that it takes for him to no longer be thirsty from that which he ate. Gemara now continues at the two dots. The Gemara here is going on the part of the Mishnah which discussed that you can make amen if you hear part of the bracha from a Yisrael, but you should not make amen if you only hear part of a bracha from a Kusi, because we don't know that the Kusi was necessarily blessing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We could have been making the bracha to Har Grizim. So the Gemara says, L'meimer di Yisrael afagav de lo shama kula bracha ona. Does this mean to say, according to the Mishnah, that if you hear a bracha from a Yisrael, even if you don't hear the whole thing, you can answer? V'chi lo shama hechi nothing. But one second, if you didn't hear the whole bracha, how are you yotzei? Gemara here is assuming that we're talking about answering amen to a bracha and then using that bracha in order to eat. So Amar Rav Chia Barav says, no, b'shelo achal imon, we're talking about saying amen, but you're not eating with them. The person's just answering amen to the bracha, just confirming essentially the statement of the bracha that a person can do if he hears the Yisrael only make part of the bracha. V'chein Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba bar Ravua, b'shelo achal imon. Similarly, Rav Nachman says in the name of Rabba Ravua, it's talking about when he didn't eat with them. Amar le Rav l'Chia Berei. Rav said to Chia, son Beri, Chatuf ubarach, my son, you should be quick to be the one to make the bracha. V'chein amar Rav Huna l'Rabba Berei, and Rav Huna also said to Rabba, his son, Chatuf ubarach, be quick to make the bracha. What this means is that they were saying it is better to be the one to make the bracha rather than answer amen. So the Gemara says, L'meimer de mevarich adif. Do you mean to say that it's better to make the bracha miman de ani amen from answering amen? V'atanya, but we learned in a brayser, Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rabbi Yossi says, Gadol ha'one amen yoser min ha'mavarich. On the contrary, it's better one who answers amen than the one who makes the bracha. And Amar le Rav Norai said to him, Hashamayim, by the heavens, Kenu, that is true. Teila, you should know, Sharei Gulyirin Yordanu Miskarin Milchama, which means the Gulyirin are the lower elements of the army, the soldiers, they go out and fight in war. V'giborim Yordanu Menatzchen, and then comes along the mighty generals, and they take credit for the victory. So the person who makes the bracha is on a lower level than the person who's answering after him, amen, just like these Giborim, who take the credit for the victory in a war. So the Gemara answers Tanoi. The Gemara answers actually it is a machlokas Tanaim. You're correct. Even though the earlier Amoraim seem to say it's better to make the bracha. Rabbi Yossi and the Braisa seem to say it's better to answer amen. But in fact, there is a Tana who holds that it is better to say the bracha, like the Amoraim said. The Tanya we learned in the Braisa Echad HaMevorech ve'Echad HaOna Amen b'Mashma. Both the person who makes the bracha and the person who answers amen are included in those who are noteworthy. Ela shemimarin l'mevorech yoser min ha'ona amen. But the reward comes quicker to the person who makes the bracha more than the person who says amen. So you see, this Braisa is against Rabbi Yossi, and you see, in fact, it is a machlokas tanoim, which one is preferred. Shmuel asked from Rav, what is the halacha in terms of answering amen to children's brachos? Amar Lei said to him, achar hakol onin amen, chutz mitinokos shel beis Rabban. He said back to him that after everybody who says a bracha, we can answer amen, except for children, we shouldn't answer their brachos. Why? And since they're really just doing it to learn. In other words, what Rav was saying is that if a person enters into a school or wherever where children are saying brachos, but they're not saying brachos particularly for the purpose of saying a bracha, they're learning the brachos. Such a situation, a person should not answer amen. V'hani mili b'delo idan miftarayu aval bidan miftarayu onin. This is only true. Rashi explains that this means this is only true if they're not saying the brachos on the haftorah, on the maftir and the haftorah. But if they are saying brachos of maftir or haftorah, in those situations you could answer amen. Gemara says, Tan Rabban, we learned in a brayso, Shemen ma'akev es habracha. Oil holds back the bracha. Rashi explains what this means here. Shemen ma'akev es habracha. So shemen holds back the bracha. Shemen shayu regilim lohavi besof hasuda. They used to have a custom to bring oil after a meal. Lasuch achar asudas hayadayim. They used it to rub it on their hands after the meal. Achar mayim achronim lahaver esu amasin. This was after mayim achronim. It was to take away the bad smell. So what does it mean? Ma'akev es habracha she'asr lazamin ashayuva. So first Rashi says the idea is that a person cannot make a zimun until they have this oil. So if you have a custom to have this oil, then you shouldn't start the zimun until you bring it. Rashi gives another explanation. Ma'akev es habracha v'chein lenyan shema'akev birchos kol davar haba b'kinuach suuda. It also means in reference to the fact that it's ma'akev brachos on other things in the meal, shemutter la'achlo below bracha ad sheyischu, meaning you're still having your meal, so you can eat food without a bracha until you rub with this oil. It's still all part of the meal. Once the oil comes, then the meal is officially over. Okay, so according to the brayso here, shemen holds back the bracha. Divrei Reb Ziloi, those are the words of Reb Ziloi. However, Reb Ziyuei omer eino ma'akev. Reb Ziyuei says no, it doesn't hold back the bracha. A person doesn't need to wait for the shemen in order to make the zimun. Rav Acha omer, and Rav Acha says shemen tov ma'akev. If it's good oil, Rashi says that means shemen tov sheyesh bo besamim ma'akev es habracha l'misha ragabo. Somebody who regularly uses shemen which has besamim in it, that's what it means here. Shemen tov, that is ma'akev the bracha. And Reb Zuhamoy, Omer Reb Zuhamoy says kashem shemezuam pasal avoda, just like one who smells bad should not is pasal to do the avoda. Kach yadayim mezuhamos psulos labracha. The same is true if a person's hands are dirty, they're pasal for bracha, meaning the person again should use oil to clean his hands. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, I know lo ziloi velo ziyuei velo zuhamoy yadana. I don't know any statements by ziloi, ziyuei, or zuhamoy. This is a reference to the fact that all the people in this brayso have similar sounding names. Elamas nisi yadana. Rather, I know a brayso. Diyomer Rav Yudah Marav, because Rav Yudah said the name of Rav. Yamri love masnis satan, and some say this is in a brayso. V'hiskadishtem elu mayim rishonim. And when the pasuk says v'hiskadishtem, it refers to the fact that we wash mayim rishonim before we eat. V'hiyisam kedoshim. You have to be holy. Elu mayim achronim refers to mayim achronim. Ki kadosh zeh shemen. Then the words ki kadosh mean that you use oil. Ani Hashem Elokeichem zu bracha. And then when the pasuk finishes Ani Hashem Elokeichem, it refers to the bracha achrona that we make. Hadron alach el devarim. So this is the end of the 8th parak of Maseches Brachos. And if you are enjoying these videos, please be sure to support this channel by liking and subscribing. And we will continue in the next video in the beginning of Daf Nun Daled Amud Aleph, the beginning of the 9th parak of Maseches Brachos.